Welcome to Subject Soup. The Sand Mafia is stealing entire islands, grain by grain, and no one is stopping them. Welcome to the hidden world of sand trafficking, where black markets thrive, coastlines vanish, and communities are left fighting to survive. This isn't just theft, it's environmental warfare happening right under our noses. Beneath the surface of pristine beaches and tranquil rivers lies a hidden crisis that threatens ecosystems, economies, and communities worldwide. Sand, a seemingly abundant resource, has become one of the most valuable commodities on Earth, driving a shadowy underworld of organized crime known as the Sand Mafia. In this documentary, we uncover why sand is so coveted, how criminal networks traffic it across borders, the devastating impacts on island nations and coastal cities, and how the global demand for concrete and construction fuels this underreported crisis. What began as a mundane ingredient in our cities has spiraled into an environmental and human catastrophe that few saw coming. Sand is the backbone of modern civilization. It's the primary ingredient in concrete, glass, asphalt, and even electronics, making it the second most extracted natural resource after water. The United Nations Environment Program estimates that 50 billion tons of sand and gravel are mined annually, enough to build a 27-meter-high, 27-meter-wide wall around the equator. Urbanization is the main driver. By 2050, two-thirds of humanity will live in cities, with megacities in China, India, and beyond consuming vast quantities of sand to construct skyscrapers, roads, and infrastructure. Not all sand is equal, however. Desert sand, smoothed by wind, lacks the angular grains needed for strong concrete, making riverbeds, beaches, and seabeds the prime targets. This scarcity has turned sand into a lucrative commodity, with prices soaring. A cubic meter can fetch up to 62 pounds in high-demand areas. The global sand trade is worth an estimated $70 billion annually, with illegal markets generating $350 billion, surpassing illegal logging, gold mining, and fishing combined. This value has attracted organized crime, transforming sand into a resource worth killing for. The term Sand Mafia describes criminal networks that illegally mine and traffic sand, often with impunity. These groups operate in over 70 countries, from India to Morocco, using violence, corruption, and sophisticated logistics to feed the global construction boom. In India, the Sand Mafia is the country's largest organized criminal enterprise, responsible for hundreds of murders, including journalists, activists, and police officers. A 2020 report noted 193 deaths linked to illegal sand mining over 2 years, driven by poor working conditions, violence, and accidents. In Morocco, sand mafias strip beaches to supply domestic and international markets, with half of the country's 10 million cubic meters of construction sand sourced illegally. In Latin America, cartels in Brazil and Colombia have diversified into sand trafficking, using dredges, trucks, and political connections to extract and sell sand for concrete and bricks. For example, in Brazil's Sarapitica, the Band do Zinho militia collaborated with a state legislator to illegally mine sand near Rio de Janeiro. These operations thrive due to lax regulation and corruption. Sand's common pool status makes it hard to monitor, and legal and illegal sand look identical, allowing traffickers to blend their product into legitimate supply chains. Bribes to officials and police ensure minimal interference, while high-tech methods like GPS spoofing help evade port authorities. In Southeast Asia, smugglers have used forged documents to export sand to Singapore, which has expanded its landmass by 130 square kilometers using imported sand. The ease of extraction, using trucks, backhoes, or even donkeys, combined with high profits and low risk, makes sand trafficking an ideal venture for organized crime. The environmental toll of sand trafficking is catastrophic, particularly for island nations and coastal cities. In Indonesia, illegal sand mining has erased at least 24 islands since 2005, dredged to supply construction projects in Singapore and elsewhere. In Sri Lanka, sand mining exacerbated the 2004 tsunami's devastation by removing natural beach barriers, leaving coastal communities defenseless against flooding. Riverbed dredging destroys aquatic habitats, clouds water, and suffocates fish, while coastal mining erodes beaches and disrupts marine ecosystems like mangroves and seagrass beds. In Morocco, a 7-kilometer stretch of beach was reduced to a rocky wasteland, threatening tourism and local livelihoods. In India's Benkat, fisherman Bhaskar Rao Patil reports catches dropping from 50 fish per hour to 5 per day due to riverbed dredging, impacting entire communities. Sand mining also increases vulnerability to climate change. Beaches and riverbanks act as natural defenses against storms and rising sea levels, but their removal leaves coastal populations, home to 40% of the U.S. population and 8 of the world's 10 largest cities, at greater risk of flooding. In the Mekong Delta, sand dredging has caused riverbank erosion, collapsing homes and roads, while in China's Poyang Lake, massive dredging operations produce 989,000 tons of sand daily, decimating migratory bird habitats. These impacts are compounded by a lack of global monitoring, with no international conventions regulating sand extraction. The global construction boom is the engine behind the sand crisis. Concrete, which is 75% sand, is the foundation of urban development, with China using more cement from 2011 to 2013 than the U.S. did in the entire 20th century. India's sand consumption has tripled since 2000, driven by megacities like Mumbai, while Dubai imports sand from Australia despite sitting in a desert. This demand creates a vicious cycle. Rapid urbanization in developing nations fuels sand extraction, which degrades environments and displaces communities, driving further migration to cities and increasing construction needs. In India, sand mining lowers water tables, exacerbating water scarcity and forcing rural farmers to urban centers, where more sand is needed for housing. Construction companies, eager for cheap materials, often turn a blind eye to illegal sand sources, perpetuating the cycle. The human cost is stark. In Kenya's Makueni County, sand mining has sparked violence, with truck drivers burned alive by mobs protesting environmental damage. In India, workers drown in unsafe mining conditions, and child labor has been reported from Uganda to India. Meanwhile, communities lose land, livelihoods, and protection from natural disasters, with little recourse against powerful mafias and complicit officials. Addressing the sand crisis requires urgent action. The UNEP's 2022 report, Sand and Sustainability, recommends recycling concrete, developing alternative materials like crushed rock or plastic sand, and improving building designs to use less concrete. Denmark's recycling model, where 94% of construction waste is reused, shows promise. Governments must strengthen regulations, increase monitoring, and crack down on corruption, while international conventions could standardize sand trade oversight. Public awareness is critical. Sand's mundane nature masks its importance, but campaigns linking sand mining to climate change, habitat loss, and human rights abuses could mobilize action. Innovations like bioconcrete or efficient architectural designs offer hope, but scaling these solutions requires global cooperation. For now, the Sand Mafia operates in the shadows, exploiting a resource we all depend on. The Sand Mafia's rise is a stark reminder of how unchecked demand can turn a common resource into a global crisis. From vanishing islands to collapsing ecosystems, the theft of sand is reshaping our world in ways few anticipated. Island nations and coastal cities bear the brunt, but the consequences ripple far beyond. As we build our cities higher, we must confront the true cost of our concrete obsession and act before the sand runs out. The island theft nobody saw coming is here, and it's time to expose it. Thanks for watching. Every story matters, from the everyday to the extraordinary. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for your next world discovery. It's completely free and means the world to me. What topic should we explore next? Drop it in the comments below. See you in the next one.